Yeah, I'll react to that, sure.
Hi guys. Okay. Back into Fred Dibnah here. When I watched the first Fred Dibnah video, I saw it, I believe, in Discord recommendations, and I didn't think anything of it. I thought Fred Dibnah was just a random name of a guy that, you know, the main thing was just someone taking down a chimney. But no, apparently he's a much bigger deal than that. And so I'm excited. I love this stuff. It's layer on layer on layer of stuff I love to watch. I love to watch old videos. I love to watch construction videos. And I love to watch... And then it's a British old video about construction. It's just my perfect video. Let's go, okay? Preemptive like part 1. I'm going to watch as many of these as I can. And maybe probably in separate videos. Since I'm going to have to hold myself back from talking too much, but it's probably going to be like a 15-minute video at the end. Let's go. Original link to the video, top of the description. Below that, link to the Discord. Would love to have you. Minecraft and other stuff over there. Fun stuff. Let's go.
Well, basically, this is sort of a packing that keeps the ladder off the wall of the chimney, so there's room for your boots to go through, you know, on the rungs of the ladder. There's two schools of thought in this. One that, you know, tying them on with string is time-consuming and all that, which it is. But the thing is, when it's being pulled up the side of the chimney, you know, by my mate here, and it bangs against something, it only busts the string, you know. Like the other school of thought is have a metal construction that's bolted to the ladder, which when that hits an iron band or something like that, it busts the bloody ladder, you see. String is cheaper than brand new ladders. So, but it does take a bit of time for tie them all on. Yeah, that's the only problem.
So there's more give when the whole ladder or frame is hit, and that's understandable. And so this thing right here is just so that it spaces the ladder away from what you're climbing, so that you're not just like putting your toe on each rung because it's right against the thing. I'm following.
Hey. Right. Hey. Now it's going to be just underneath the third rung, so there's room for your boots. They've just got to be just underneath the third rung, so there's room for your boots there. If you tie it on there, it's amazing how it gets in way. You know, it's in the wrong shop because there's no room for your feet.
Stuff like that is just from experience, right?
Yeah, basically that piece of wood is just to put there to hold the ladder off the wall. Here we are drilling the first hole in you know, which there is an hole actually there that's just been pointed up. So knocking the first dog, which will be the holdfast at the base of the first ladder, as you might say. Then goes the plug wood, which, as you can see, it don't go in very far, you know, but it's quite far enough, you know, it's quite safe. And that's what's termed as a dog. Then I'm going to knock in now, knocking in now. And the next stage.
Look, all right, I almost want to say sorry about the pausing, but there's going to be pausing, okay? So is this so that he puts a wood piece in there and then puts this in there so that it's not metal against concrete, it's metal against wood against concrete, or metal against wood against cement, whatever you want to call it, so that it won't crumble it as much, my guess is?
And now, knocking in now. And the next stage is to the piece of rope. It's called a lashing, and it's a piece of rope about 5 foot long with a loop spliced on one end, as you can see. The next stage is to prop up a ladder and climb up it as though you were going up to clean the bedroom window. And then about 5 feet from the top of that ladder, you drill another hole, but in our case the hole's already there. You drill another hole as plumb and straight above the one below as you can get it, and insert another piece of plug wood.
Am I still in camera view? Yeah, I'm fine.
Another piece of plugwood and another dog.
I'm going back. Shove it, okay? I didn't hear.
And insert another piece of plugwood and another dog. As you get a bit higher up, the holes have a tendency to get a bit deeper. I think it's called fear.
Question. Are you worried about it sliding out a bit? With the wood, I mean, it's okay. Never mind.
Here you see the first ladder is in position, and I'm about to tie it onto the bottom dog or the bottom holdfast, which you know, that's where the beer belly comes in handy. It's sort of round the side of the cheek of the ladder, under the rung, round the other cheek of the ladder, round the rung, and then back round the rung below, and a 12-inch on, and that's got it fast. It will not come off. And the thing to do also is use as much of the rope up as you can, because in a gale the ends start to blow about, and the whipping comes off the end of the rope, and then you've got one with like a cat o' nine tails end on it, you know, blowing about in the wind. That is the pulley wheel to pull up the next ladder. Here the next operation is to tie the ladder to the top dog or the top holdfast that you've just knocked in, without tying it to the haulage rope, you know, because you sometimes, if you're not paying attention or you're trying to talk to somebody who's mithering you on the floor, you end up lapping it around. You see how easy it would be to lap it around the haulage rope. Yeah, that's it. That is now, the bottom ladder is now firmly fixed and as good as it'll ever be to the wall of the chimney. And the next operation is to climb up to the top of that ladder and sit astride the top iron rung and reach up as far as you can and drill another hole.
I love all of the leg positions he has. He has his
rung.
What the heck was that? Was that a stroke I just had? It's just cool seeing the
top of that ladder.
Whatever.
And sit astride the top iron rung and reach up as far as you can and drill another hole in the brickwork, which of course it's very easy for me here, because having done this thing about 7 times before and used exactly the same holes every time, I know exactly how far I'm reaching and where I'm going.
You guys ever do a little construction, like with nailing, like ever have to like put shingles on, for instance, where there's a lot of hammering involved, and if you're not that great or like experienced, right, like I'm not very, I've worked on a bit of construction, but just because like my parents have gotten so many like different houses and love constructing and everything themselves, and so I've gotten some experience. But I love how terrible you are in the beginning with the hammer, and how gradually you get more confident in hitting. And then a guy who like this, like Fred, who has so much experience, there's just something joyful about seeing him swing a hammer. Like, it's that simple.
Same holes every time. I know exactly how far I'm reaching and where I'm going, and it's quite an easy operation to keep the whole stack of ladders in a very straight line. if you're putting them up and you wander towards one side, when you're putting the staging up at the top and you've got one ladder that's maybe 2 foot gone a bit sideways, and say the other one's gone the other way, it looks rather an erratic effort at the top. You know, everything's out of line and out of square. Now we've drilled the hole approximately 5 feet above the top of the bottom ladder,
Right, Neil.
and hooks on the pulley wheel. Now this is where the tricky bit comes in. The second ladder is tied on approximately 9 rungs from the top, which is about midway. And of course, when it's being pulled up by the labourer or the man down below, we lose more or less half a ladder of a lap, which you'll see the reason for this shortly. The thing is, as that ladder comes up, or the second ladder comes up, on the bottom rung of it, there are 2 lashings, one of which I'm using now to tie the bottom rung to the nearest corresponding rung of the ladder that's stuck to the wall. I've got the other lashing round my neck, and the 2 steeplejack hooks which have come up with it are stuck in my belt. Now, that's the secondary sort of safety precaution, the one with just a clovitch round the side, just in case that hook there that I've got my hand on, or the one that the pulley's on, if that happened to come out, I'd still be in with a chance. You know, the ladder would still be connected with 2 hooks to the bottom one. As you can see, it's slightly precarious there how it shakes about, but once you've lashed it to that top hook, which is 5 foot above the bottom ladder, you've only got about 6 rungs above that are standing in free space, or what you might call unconnected to the chimney.
Right, but then aren't you gonna run into a problem with the next one? But he's gonna have a solution to it, obviously. But I was wondering, at the top, as you're stacking a ladder on top of the other, if the top one comes loose, then you just fall with the top ladder, but obviously not, because he's tying them together.
In free space ladder, you've only got about 6 rungs above that are standing in free space, or what you might call unconnected to the chimney. It is now possible to unhook the pulley wheel and carry it up the back side of the ladder and hook it on the top iron rung, while you use one of the dogs that's stuck in your belt to, you know, get another purchase 5 foot higher up still, you see. And once you've drilled that hole and put the dog in, you can lift up the pulley wheel onto the dog, which of course one end of the rope is still attached to the ladder that you were sat on. And then you'll see in a minute where when I come down and untie that ladder, my man at the bottom pulls, and up goes the whole 21 pins of the ladder onto the top of the bottom ladder, which sounds unbelievably complicated, but it is quite a simple operation, really. In fact, it's so simple you can do on a good chimney on a good day where it isn't windy and you don't manage to thump the hell out your hand with the hammer. Like, you know, I mean, if you miss with the hammer, it's rather painful. There goes the pulley wheel down the ladder. Untie the lashing at the top that's holding the top of the ladder. Now it all comes loose and flops about in the wind. That's the dodgy bit when it's very windy and you're 3/4 of the way up and the wind's trying to snap the ladder off sideways.
Oh God, that's so sketchy.
Windy and you're 3/4 of the way up and the wind's trying to snap the ladder off sideways. It's quite exciting.
Exciting.
And there's the secondary lashing on the side, and then finally the one at the bottom. When you've released it at the bottom, it's at the mercy of the man on the floor and the wind. Sometimes it's rather awkward when it's very windy and the ladders start twisting round the rope, you know, that's pulling the thing up.
Well, wait a second.
It's now in the right position for fixing onto the sockets at the bottom, and of course you
Well, now he can do that. Or
see how close onto the sockets at the bottom, and of course you see how close to the top hook that
So yeah, I was thinking, okay, if you're more on the top and it's for some reason it comes loose and you fall back, you're going to be connected to the ladder underneath, right? But you're not. That was just to make it easier to pull up the next ladder, and then they pull it up from the tied knot, and then they like attach it to the next ladder, which makes sense, but also because if you were to keep stacking ladder on top of ladder, then by the time you're at the top ladder, it's going to be kind of so far out from the wall. Okay, all right.
You know, it's being held against the wall by the man on the floor. Very important that the man on the floor is, you've got his wall concentration all the time, you know. That's why it's better using an older man than a younger man who has a tendency to wander off looking at ladies' skirts and things like that. Because if he disappears, you fall off.
All right. There.
That's the second ladder up, and that's what it's all about. Well, almost up. This method of laddering factory chimneys is quite a recent sort of invention, you know, like 1870s period. A bit before then, they actually flew kites to get string across the tops of chimneys, you know, a right weird situation. I think when they were, you know, the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, when they started to erect chimney stacks, nobody gave it a great deal of thought as to how they were going to get up there to repair the things. Because, of course, they were all built from the inside, more or less right from the beginning of building fairly large ones to...
That's what scares me so much about especially the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, when people are so excited about building stuff that the afterthought of repairing or whatever that someone else is going to eventually do is an afterthought. I said that kind of twice, but yeah.
To the beginning of building fairly large ones to building the really monstrous things that there are today at power stations. Like the early ones, you know, 1820s, were only like 60 and 50 feet high. And of course, you know, they could build them with a conventional scaffold around the outside because they were of no great girth, you know. To circumnavigate the wall of that chimney, which might be 60 odd feet circumference with scaffolding, is going to cost a heck of a lot of money, you know. That's why I think steeplejacks have still still earn a crust of bread, you know.
So the whole purpose, I for a split second, I'm like, wait, what is the point of a chimney stack? And then I immediately realized, of course, you don't want a low chimney stack because then all of the smoke and whatever steam, whatever coming out of it is just going to drift into the... So the whole point of a chimney stack is to raise the excess smoke or whatever the exhaust is high enough in the air so that it doesn't affect the surrounding area, right? So I wonder what led them to pick a certain height to be like, okay, yeah, that's the height it should be.
Steeplejacks have still still earn a crust of bread, you know. It is one of the good and reliable ways of getting up there, you know.
So nowadays at the top of, you know, chimney stacks or whatever those are at power plants, do they have an elevator or something, or...
Basically, having got the second ladder up, you've more or less conquered it in a way, how you actually do the job.
Now you just repeat?
Is, you just keep repeating the process. 9 rungs from the top, 2 lashings on the bottom and 2 dogs, and up it comes. And all as you're up there with is your hammer, your chisel, the plug wood, and the end of the pulley wheel and the rope. The important thing not to do is let the rope run through the block and go tumbling down, which means that you've got to come down and get the end of the rope and carry the thing up, which 200 foot of hemp rope is fairly heavy, and by the time you've got back to the top with it, you're getting a bit out of breath. The other thing is, the higher up you get, and the harder it gets, you know, because of course the guy at the bottom has got to pull the ladder up further, and you've got to send the end of the rope down further. And also the progression towards the top as you get higher it slows down a bit.
Makes sense. And I noticed he's doing it next to this wiring or whatever it is here to kind of keep on track.
Basically is an inspection to give a quote for any forthcoming repairs that need sorting out. Over the years, the first job I ever did were above the collar, the 10 feet of brickwork above the collar. I put some new iron bands round and pointed it all, and a new lightning conductor on. Then on subsequent visits, I pointed all the panel work round the top 30 feet. And now from the sailing course below that to below the green and white banded area of tile bricks, it's badly in need of pointing, so I'm going to give them an estimate to do that. That's a bit of old-time steeplejack's plugwood, you know. Him who knocked that in there will be dead and gone, without a doubt. Quite rotten, you know. These patches I pointed up, they were some very poor quality steeplejacks damaged the brickwork, you know, didn't know how to work an hammer and chisel. It's always policy to leave the ladders there until you've come to the financial arrangement with the management about whether they're going to have it done or not, which saves you having to put the ladders up again. The thing is that having secured the contract, if we're going to do it, we've then got to put what's termed as a staging round the top.
One, two, three, 4, 5. 6, 7. He on his 8th ladder?
Hear it how it's addled, all you know. It's a shame, really.
I just got a little wince, a little feeling of vertigo right there. I'm just like, oh my god, oh, and I'm just watching an old video. Jeez.
All you know. It's a shame, really. Getting near the top, it's always like that, you know.
Because of the perspective, it's hard to see how high that thing goes.
This time, a few iron bands might be called for, you know, to screw it together a bit. A bit of me pointing come out up there on them big copings. Can you see it? 6 inches off the lightning conductor. Not bad that though, it's a long time since I did it.
You guys ever watch like climbing radio antenna towers? Videos of that? Oh my god, it's sketchy, scary.
Some of them are loose.
Oh, good.
It's a trifle huddled around that area.
I don't think the full 9-inch headers, they're only halves, you know. Well, an header is a brick on end, like that should be. But I don't think it is. It wouldn't sound as hollow if it were a full 9-inch brick going in. It's only half of one, I think. I'm only surmising.
How high does that thing go?
These are my dog holes that support my scaffold when I'm, you know, when I'm putting the scaffolding up.
Hi.
When you sat on top of there, like king of the castle, the view used to be quite interesting in this area. There were numerous collieries, the last of which disappeared a few months ago, and lots of mill chimneys, and I think you can see about 4 left now out of all of them, out of dozens and dozens. Not very far away there's the parish church of Atherton, which has got a distinct list on it through the mining subsidence.
Well, that's it now. We've nearly conquered it. The north face of the Eiger.
How high does that thing go? The machine, the you know, this thing. It's hard to tell because of our perspective, is if that's like right next to the tower or not. Woo! That was awesome. I'm gonna continue watching Fred Dibnah videos. Okay. Love you guys. Love to see any of your comments and any questions I had. If you could answer them, you guys always do a great job. And I'll see you guys next time. All right. Bye, guys.